Bahamas Athletics Today, coverage of the IAAF 2012 Centenary Gala in Barcelona, Spain, is brought to you by the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism, the International Association of Athletic Federations, and Consumers' Choice.
Ladies, and just the first question for Sally. You really had two fantastic seasons back-to-back. Athlete of the Year last year, fastest time run in almost 2 decades when you took gold in Daegu. And by the way, you also broke the famous program jinx, which was an additional achievement. And then Olympic gold this year. You've won 25 of your 26 races. Are you still hungry? What keeps you motivated?
I don't know. I just came from training today. I'm absolutely stuffed right now. But it's just the lifestyle. I love being an athlete, and I love being able to travel around the world and doing something that I guess at once is the first thing is that I love it, and the second thing is that the amount of registrations in athletics in Australia since the Olympics has been through the roof, and it's really nice to be able to, I guess, inspire the next generation, especially in Australia, because we're struggling a lot with the up-and-coming athletes for our next generation of Olympians. So the amount of work I can do to be able to inspire them to come through is also really encouraging for me, and I think that's what motivates me to keep going. And obviously you have to love it and enjoy it at the same time to want to do it, because it's not easy. It's not easy being an athlete at the same time. It's a lot of hard work, but the joys that you get out of it definitely override it.
Thank you, Sally. And for Joanna, you already had a longer career, Olympic gold, as we said, in 2004. You couldn't qualify in Beijing due to injury. Then you took 3 years off, 2009 to 2011. You had a little daughter. You're a track coach, and now you're back. So what made you want to come back?
Well, I think that I was also, like Sally had said, hungry, just enjoying being an athlete, missing being an athlete. I think that when I retired the first time in '08, I retired because I was frustrated and just tired of being injured and tired of putting in the work and then being ready, being excited to run, and then, an injury, or even competing injured and not being able to win the races that I knew that I could win healthy. So a lot of frustration, a lot of years in a sport, and just kind of needed a break. And so I took a full break. I had knee surgery, then I had my daughter Zoe, and then I just kind of fell into the life of coaching and working, because once you have kids, you have to pay for the kids and you have to eat. So I thought I can't nurse her until she's like 12. So I had to work, and so just kind of fell into that, and really never had any intention on running again. And then just kind of hanging out with my training group and missing it a little bit, and actually speaking with Allison Felix. She's kind of one of the ones that convinced me. She's like, come on with us, and I'm like, maybe I'll give it a go. So the thing was, just last year I had fun training, I enjoyed it, but not having a contract, having to still keep my same work schedule and have the baby just it was hard when you compete with people who run for a living. So I could only give really track and field athletics like 60% of my time and my energy. So it worked out okay. I ran all right and I enjoyed myself, but after the Olympic trials, I retired again. So I really just had a good time, and I wanted to be able to leave on my own terms as opposed to being, I guess, kicked out of the sport, if you will. So I really enjoyed it, and I had a blast competing last year.
So you're not going to be back next year? You're not going to do like Ellen Johnson?
No, I think that for me, just really watching my event is one of the toughest events, I'm sure Sally will agree, in all of athletics, because you have 7 competitors per race, but there's also 10 hurdles, and that's the real challenge, is being able to race and be clean and be effective, and they're just so good. I'll be 36 next month, and exactly 1 month from now, and kids and things, so you kind of move on with your life and enjoy watching other people be successful and break records and win medals and things like that.
Lovely, thank you. So we're going to open it to questions from the floor, please. Manu?
Hi. Last year in Monaco, you told us how how difficult it was, to train in Australia. And in a country that has, let's say, first swimming, sailing, and athletics in the last years comes a little bit, comes from harder. Now that after London, that you got back in your country with the gold medal, something has changed, in the programs from the federation. You have more support for, let's say, the next year, or it's as before?
For me, it was never tough training in Australia. I think it's more for people who aren't at the same level as I am. It's tough to train in Australia because of the support and the lack of tracks we have sometimes around the country. But no, for me, it's okay. I quite like training in Australia. It's away from everyone, and you sort of have your little hiding spot down there, and you can do what you want, and we have the perfect weather for it as well all year round. I'm not there for the winter every year, but again, our winter's not so bad where I'm from, and no, it's good. Had 9 weeks off after the Olympics, back into it 6 weeks this week, so it's tough, but it's part of the job. You have to do it, and I enjoy it.
Sally, you said that interest had gone through the roof for athletics among the younger athletes. Is that mainly, you think, because of your accomplishments? Do you know whether they're all taking up the hurdles?
Well, yes, they are. They really are. I had a message sent to me after I raced saying, you wouldn't believe it, but this all-girls school in Queensland, where I'm from, had 10 heats of the women's hurdles in high school, which usually there's hard to get one heat. So it's really encouraging to know that little old me can just go out there and do a few races and inspire some younger generations. It's really fantastic. You just have to try and grab those elite, those few athletes that have some potential and bring them through the ranks, because it's a hard sport, as Joanna said. It's not an easy sport to get through, and qualifying times for our country, it can be quite difficult, and it's just a matter of trying to sort of bring them through the junior ranks into the senior ranks, and keep them enthusiastic and motivated about our sport, because once you make it into the senior ranks, it's a fantastic place to be.
Do you really compete this winter in the season in the States or in Europe?
Am I competing indoors?
Yes.
Not at this stage, no.
Yes.
To Joanna, what do you think you'll do differently this year, going into this season that you've done in the past, now that you have all of the other things on your plate? Will you do anything differently?
Oh, I'm not going to run. No, but if I was to run, I would probably hunt down every shoe company and try to make them give me money. That would be the difference. But no, I think that because it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, but if I did decide to run this year, I would look for other sponsorships, different, non-shoe companies, people, maybe other, just companies to try to support me, because I think that that's really important when it comes to athletics. I think for the Olympics, it's a little different because so many sports are involved, and a lot of people don't have contracts. They're just amateurs and they're competing. But when it comes to a professional sport like ours, it's tough when you don't have a contract. So I think for me, I want to help athletes kind of get contracts or just get support. We have a USA Track and Field Foundation, and I work with them trying to help athletes just really gain some money so they can spend more time training and less time worrying about jobs. In 2004, I coached and I worked with a security company, and then I trained full time, and it was really, really difficult. It worked for me that year, but it doesn't always work for people, so that's really important. But now I'm going to have another baby, so I think I'll just not run. I think it'll be safer for everyone if I stay away from hurdles for a while, so I'll just continue to coach and to encourage. As Sally said, it's important to encourage the next generation, and now for me, I did what she's done. I was able to encourage them by my actions and by running, and now I can help them, train them, and I think that it's great that, what Sally did last year when she ran 12:28 was like amazing. I'm at home like looking in the computer and watching every round of the World Championships, and in her second round when she ran 12:36, I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Can she go faster? And so that's the kind of thing that makes me excited to see that happen, to see these records fall, and to see somebody finally be able to go in the 20s was amazing. So I'm just now just a big, huge athletics fan, and I'm just waiting for things to just get crazy.
Sally, I was reading about you've been managing a back problem for a long time now. I just wondered how it was at the moment and how you manage that on a kind of day-to-day basis.
It's just part of being an athlete. I mean, as Joanna said, if you don't have something wrong with you, then you're not a real athlete. I don't know. No, I've had a back problem for a long time now, since I think it started showing itself in 2005 when I was about 18, 19 years of age, and 2009 World Champs was when it really came about, and ended up, I don't know, 2 weeks before the World Championships, not even be able to get up off the track. I was crippled and was walking around like an 80-year-old or 90-year-old for a few days, and it was very disheartening, and took me a long time to get over that into the next season and get my motivation back again, because I was always in pain and just couldn't get onto the track. And I guess once you learn what your body can handle and the things that you can't handle, and making sure you control the controllables and not get distracted by outside distractions and just focus on what you can do, I think is probably the most important thing in gaining, I guess, the strength and the physical fitness for the next few years. And I've done that over the last probably 3 years. I really learnt what my body can handle and really listen to it instead of ignoring the warning signs. At the moment, well, when I was at the Olympics is probably when I was in the most pain in the whole year. I had niggling back issues from Oslo, and on the 6th of June, I think I raced then, and went into the Olympics in a lot of pain, and I was actually glad that it was over, just because I didn't have to be in pain anymore trying to get over the hurdles. It's just one of those things that every athlete has to deal with, I think, in their own way, and whatever sort of ongoing injuries they have, you just have to manage it the best way possible.
Do you feel the pain all day long, or is that just running over the hurdles?
No, I'm probably in a little bit of pain now. Yeah. It's alright though, I'm not worried.
Steve, we're going to take a question from behind you.
Okay, so can you talk a bit about your specific goals for next year? What you're going to be focusing on? Second question about athletics in Australia. If you were in charge of back home in your country, what would you change?
Oh God, I don't want to be in charge. That's just a whole new ball game. Everyone has their issues with their sport and governing and body, and it's just one of those things that I don't really pay attention to. And as I said, I just focus on the things that I personally can control at the moment. The main thing that I like to focus on is trying to get out there and as I've been saying, inspire the next generation, because I can't be an Olympian forever. I can't keep going to the Olympics every 4 years, and so we need some more Olympians coming through. We need them to be breaking my Olympic record now and world records. So you got to try and keep going as much as you can with that. That's what I keep trying to push, is for the younger generations. And what's the next question? Next year. Well, obviously, the main goal is the World Championships, and I keep saying that I want to defend my title, but my coach said a good thing to me a few weeks ago, is that you don't have to defend your title. You've already got it. No one is going to take it away from you. You just have to do it again. You don't have to, but, if you want to do it again, you just do it again. It's not defending it. It's just trying to get another medal, really, and that's my plan. I'll be working towards hopefully winning the gold medal.
Mr. Motley, Joanna, you spoke about
call it financial struggles of athletes who are not among the elite. Now, coming out of the Olympic Games, we heard some calls for the creation of an athletes union. What are your views, both ladies, on those calls?
Well, I think it's extremely important for every sport to have a union, just like jobs or, careers. You want to have people that have your back and your best interests, and so when things go wrong, you have a group of people that are going to support you and help you, and I think that it is certainly time for a union. USA Track and Field, our athletics, our athletes have been working on a union for a while, and it's the TFAA. It actually started before the Olympics and before the whole controversy with Rule 40, and now it's just grabbing these wings, and I think it's going to soar, because I think there's always two sides to everything. I understand IOC's point, and of course I understand the athlete's point. So at this point, we just need to sit down and kind of find an agreement and agree to disagree on something, and where everybody's happy, because I don't think you can have one without the other. But of course, being an athlete, I think the athletes are the most important entity in sports, because if you don't have the athletes, then you don't need a governing body. You don't need, because there's nothing to watch if there's no athletes in the Olympics. So I am 100% on board with unions and athletes unionizing themselves and coming together as a group to help one another.
I'm sorry, you have to ask a question again. I'm up since 1 a.m. I don't know. What was the question again?
Sorry. What's your views on the cause for the creation of an athletes union?
Oh, I don't have any comment on that. I'm sorry. I can't answer that question.
Okay, another question to you both. Do you think that time will come soon when a women champ will have the same attention of men, Usain Bolt, or do you think that men, they run faster, they go higher, and so women will always be a little bit in the shadow?
Well, I certainly think that men will always run faster. If a woman ever runs faster than a man, I think that, women can run faster than some men, but you know what I mean. If a woman runs faster than a man, that woman needs to be careful with her life. She may not last that long, but no, I think that certainly they'll always have faster marks, higher marks and things like that. But I think we've come a very long way, women. I think that we have many more rights than we had before. And if you take, Usain Bolt is super international. He's not just the biggest athlete. He's one of the biggest in the world. He's crossed all the sporting lines. So I think he's an exception. But then I say, I take someone like an Allison Felix, who is doing things that haven't been done, since FloJo, and it's amazing what women can accomplish. And I think that for a female athlete, let's say for the hurdles, for example, the hurdles in a sport may not ever get the attention that the 100 meters gets. And that's not a knock against the hurdles, it's just kind of what the world wants. Or the 1,500 meters is huge over in, the whole entire world, but in America it's like, 1,500, that's cool, but if athletes from America win a lot more in the 1,500, then it will become bigger. So I think it just comes down to the event, and what Sally said earlier, she can only control, she only worries about the things that she can control. So her gold medal to her is as good as Usain Bolt's gold medal or any other man's gold medal. Maybe she doesn't make the money that a man would make, but at the end of the day, it's closer and closer and closer. So I don't know if it'll ever be equal, but I know that we've come a very long way since our early days.
I don't think there's much more you can add to that. You said it pretty well there. I don't think it. Personally, I don't really follow the politics like that. I don't get into it that much. I do it because I enjoy it, and if I didn't get paid, I don't get paid. I'm just doing it because I absolutely love it, and I love, as I keep saying and keep pushing, I love seeing the joy on all the kids' faces when I can help inspire them come through. Whether that means I think I'm pretty big in Australia, but in the world it's really hard to come by. But I'm just doing it because I love it more than anything. I don't really care if I'm the biggest athlete in the world or if I'm not. It's just a matter of whether you enjoy it.